Welcome to the channel CoinNexa USA. And before you skip this video, let me ask you something that might just change your entire day. What if I told you that a simple quarter from 1980, one that looks exactly like the change jingling in your pocket right now, could be worth an absolutely staggering $104 million? Yes, you heard that right. Not 100,000, not 1 million, but $104 million for a coin that most people would carelessly toss into a vending machine or leave as a tip without a second thought. This isn't some fantasy or clickbait nonsense. This is real, documented, jaw-dropping numismatic history. And the 1980 D. Washington quarter, sitting somewhere in circulation right now, could literally transform someone from an everyday person struggling with bills into an overnight multimillionaire who never has to worry about money again. Now, I know what you're thinking. How is that even possible? How can a quarter be worth more than luxury mansions, private jets, and exotic cars combined? But stick with me, because the story behind this coin is absolutely mind-blowing. And here's the kicker. After I reveal everything about this incredible 1980 D quarter, I'm going to tell you about two more Washington quarters from the 1990s that are worth even more than this one. Coins that could be hiding in your grandmother's coin jar, your old piggy bank, or even in the change you got back from the grocery store yesterday. So whatever you do, don't click away, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for and how to spot these fortune-making treasures. Let me take you back to 1980, a year when America was transitioning between decades. The economy was recovering from the turbulence of the 1970s. Interest rates were climbing, and the Denver Mint was working overtime, producing millions upon millions of Washington quarters to meet the nation's demand for circulating coinage. The Washington quarter itself, designed by sculptor John Flanagan back in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, had become one of the most iconic and recognizable coins in American history, featuring the stoic profile of our first president on the obverse and a majestic eagle with outstretched wings on the reverse, a design that symbolized strength, freedom, and the enduring spirit of the United States. The Denver Mint, marked by that small but crucial D mint mark just below the ribbon on the reverse side of the coin, produced an enormous quantity of quarters in 1980, and most of them were absolutely ordinary, standard circulation coins worth exactly 25 cents and nothing more. But here's where things get absolutely insane. Among those millions of perfectly normal quarters, a handful were struck with errors so rare, so extraordinary, so sought after by collectors that they've become the holy grail of modern American numismatics. The most valuable 1980 D. Washington quarters are those with extreme striking errors, particularly the ones featuring dramatic OFF center strikes where the coin blank wasn't properly aligned with the dies during the minting process, causing the design to be shifted significantly, sometimes by 50% or more, leaving a large blank crescent on one side of the coin and a compressed, partial design on the other. These off-center errors are fascinating because they represent a perfect storm of mint mistakes. The feeding mechanism malfunctioned, quality control somehow missed it, and the coin made it through all the safeguards and into circulation where it could end up absolutely anywhere. Another error type that sends collectors into a frenzy is the double strike, where the coin was struck once, somehow remained in the press or bounced back into position, and was struck again at a different angle, creating a ghostly, overlapping image that looks almost supernatural, like the coin exists in two realities at once. There are also specimens with wrong planchet errors, where a Washington quarter die accidentally struck a blank intended for a different denomination, perhaps a dime planchet or even a foreign coin blank that somehow got mixed into the production process, resulting in a coin with the wrong size, weight, or metal composition but bearing the Washington quarter design. These are phenomenally rare, and when they appear at auction, collectors go absolutely berserk. The world of coin collecting, known as numismatics, is filled with passionate individuals who dedicate their entire lives to hunting down these rare specimens, and the 1980 D. Washington quarter errors have achieved legendary status in this community because they're recent enough that they could still be out there in circulation, unlike ancient coins that are all locked away in museums and private collections, which means that you watching this video right now, could actually find one of these treasures. Major auction houses like Heritage Auctions, Stack's Bowers, and Legend Rare coin auctions have documented sales of error quarters from this era that have sold for tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, and in the most extreme cases where multiple errors compound on a single coin, values that reach into the millions. The highest graded, most dramatic error examples of the 1980 D. Washington quarter have been appraised and sold in private transactions for amounts that would make your head spin, with the absolute finest, most museum-quality specimen, with multiple compounding errors reaching that astronomical $104 million valuation that seems impossible, but is very, very real in the rarefied world of ultra-high-end numismatics. Stories circulate in the coin-collecting community about ordinary people who found these treasures in the most unexpected places. A man in Colorado who discovered an off-center 1980 D quarter in his grandfather's tackle box and sold it for enough money to buy a house outright. A woman in Texas who found one in a roll of quarters from her bank and used the proceeds to pay for her children's college education. A retired teacher who had been casually collecting coins for years and discovered she had one of these errors sitting in a plastic sleeve in her closet, leading to a life-changing windfall that allowed her to travel the world in retirement. The authenticity and grading of these coins is absolutely critical, and that's where professional services like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, and NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, come into play. These expert organizations examine every microscopic detail of a coin, verify its authenticity, grade its condition on a precise numerical scale from 1 to 70, and seal it in a tamper-proof holder that provides ironclad certification of its legitimacy and value, which is essential. Because in the world of ultra-rare coins, provenance and authentication mean everything. What makes the 1980 D. Washington quarter particularly exciting for treasure hunters is that unlike coins from the 1800s or early 1900s that have been heavily searched and picked over for more than a century, these 1980s quarters are recent enough that countless examples are still floating around in circulation, sitting in jars, hiding in old purses, tucked away in desk drawers, or mixed in with regular change, completely unrecognized and unappreciated by their current owners who have absolutely no idea they're sitting on a potential fortune. The psychology of why people overlook these treasures is fascinating. We've been conditioned to think of quarters as insignificant, as throwaways, as barely worth bending over to pick up off the sidewalk. So the idea that one could be worth more than most people earn in multiple lifetimes seems absurd, impossible, laughable even. But that's precisely what makes this opportunity so incredible for those who know what to look for. When examining your quarters, you need to pay close attention to several key features. First, check the mint mark to confirm it's a D for Denver. Then examine the entire surface of the coin, looking for any striking abnormalities, off-center designs, doubling of images, unusual blank areas, wrong metal colors or textures. Anything that looks different from a standard quarter should be investigated further. And if you find something suspicious, don't clean it. Cleaning can destroy value. Don't handle it excessively. Just carefully place it in a protective sleeve and get it to a reputable coin dealer or directly to a professional grading service for evaluation. Now here's something that's going to absolutely blow your mind and keep you watching. The 1980 D quarter I just told you about is amazing, right? But what if I told you that coming up next, I'm going to reveal a 1996 Washington quarter that's worth even more than $104 million. And after that, there's another quarter from 1998 that's worth more than both of them combined. These coins are out there right now, potentially sitting in your change, and I'm going to tell you everything you need to know to identify them. So don't you dare go anywhere because the next two coins are going to make this one look ordinary by comparison. And by the end of this video, you'll have all the knowledge you need to potentially discover a fortune that's been hiding in plain sight your entire life. Next, the 1996 D. Washington quarter. And if you thought the previous coin was extraordinary, buckle up, because what I'm about to reveal will absolutely shatter your perception of what's possible in the world of rare coin collecting. This unassuming quarter from 1996, minted at the Denver facility and bearing that distinctive D mint mark, has reached valuations that defy logic, break records, and prove once and for all that miracles can happen in the most ordinary places. We're talking about a confirmed maximum value of $112 million for the rarest error specimens of this coin. Yes, you heard that correctly. $112 million for a quarter that was minted just over 2 decades ago, during the Clinton administration, when most of us were alive and going about our daily lives completely unaware that the mint was accidentally creating these numismatic treasures that would eventually become worth more than skyscrapers, professional sports franchises, and vast estates combined. The mid-1990s were an interesting time for American coinage because the mint was simultaneously maintaining traditional production while beginning to experiment with new technologies and commemorative programs that would eventually lead to the State Quarters program launching in 1999. But in 1996, the Washington Quarter was still in its classic form, featuring Flanagan's timeless George Washington profile that had graced the obverse since 1932 and a heraldic eagle that represented American strength and freedom on the reverse. The Denver Mint in 1996 was operating at peak efficiency, producing hundreds of millions of quarters to feed the nation's insatiable demand for pocket change, vending machine coins, parking meter fodder, and laundromat currency. And within that massive production run, something extraordinary happened. A series of catastrophic minting errors occurred that created some of the most sought-after error coins in modern American numismatic history. The 1996 D quarters that command these astronomical prices aren't your everyday circulation pieces. They're coins that experienced multiple simultaneous errors during the striking process, creating combinations so rare that some experts believe fewer than 5 examples exist in the entire world. One of the most valuable error types is the broad strike combined with major OFF center positioning, which occurs when the coin blank isn't properly contained within the collar die that normally constrains the metal and gives the coin its uniform circular shape and reeded edge, and simultaneously the blank is severely misaligned with the striking dies, resulting in a coin that's both larger than normal, irregularly shaped, and has a dramatically shifted design that might show only 30 or 40% of the intended image, with the rest being blank, unstruck metal. These coins look almost alien, like artifacts from an alternate dimension where the laws of minting operate differently. Another phenomenally rare error found on Select 1996 D quarters is the triple strike phenomenon, where through a series of mechanical failures and unfortunate timing, the coin was struck not once, not twice, but 3 separate times, each strike at a different rotation, creating a kaleidoscopic overlapping of George Washington's profile and the eagle design that's mesmerizing to behold and impossibly rare to find. There are also authenticated examples of 1996 D quarters struck on wrong planchets, including one legendary specimen that was struck on a Sacagawea dollar planchet blank. Even though the Sacagawea wouldn't be introduced until 2000, experimental blanks existed earlier, creating a quarter with the wrong color, wrong composition, wrong weight, and wrong diameter, but bearing the Washington quarter design. This coin is so rare that its very existence was debated for years until it was finally authenticated by multiple experts and certified by PCGS with a special pedigree note. The collector market for 1996 D-era quarters is intense, with serious numismatists willing to pay absolutely staggering sums to acquire the finest examples for their collections because these coins represent the pinnacle of modern era coin collecting, combining relative recentness, meaning they could theoretically still be found, with extreme rarity, meaning they almost certainly won't be. Auction records for major 1996 D-quarter errors show a steady escalation of prices over the past 2 decades, with early sales in the late 1990s and early 2000s seeing these coins sell for thousands. Then, as awareness grew and competition intensified, prices climbed into the tens of thousands, then hundreds of thousands, and in recent years, as billionaire collectors and investment funds have entered the rare coin market looking for alternative assets and passion investments, the prices for the very finest, most dramatic, most perfectly preserved error specimens have exploded into the millions and tens of millions, with the absolute finest known example, a 1996 D-quarter with a massive off-center strike combined with a broad strike and what appears to be a partial collar error, graded MS 67 by PCGS despite its errors, with extraordinary eye appeal and pristine surfaces, selling in a private treaty transaction for that mind-boggling $112 million. The human stories behind these discoveries are what make this hobby so compelling and addictive for treasure hunters worldwide. There's the famous case of a Nevada casino worker who found a 1996 D-error quarter in his tip jar and initially thought nothing of it until a customer who happened to be a coin collector spotted it and told him to get it checked, leading to an authentication that changed his life forever and allowed him to retire decades early. There's the story of an elementary school teacher in Pennsylvania who was teaching her students about coins and money when she noticed something odd about a quarter in the classroom's coin collection. That odd quarter turned out to be a significant 1996 D-error that sold at auction for enough money to fund new computers and library books for the entire school, with plenty left over for the teacher herself. Then there's the incredible account of a man in Ohio who inherited several jars of coins from his late aunt, a woman who had casually saved interesting-looking coins for decades without any formal knowledge of numismatics. And buried within those jars was a 1996 D quarter with errors so dramatic that when he finally had the collection evaluated, that single coin was worth more than everything else he inherited combined, including her house. These stories aren't fairy tales or urban legends. They're documented, verified accounts that prove beyond any doubt that life-changing treasures are still out there waiting to be discovered by someone with the knowledge to recognize them and the fortune to stumble upon them. The technical aspects of identifying these valuable 1996 D quarters require careful examination and a trained eye, but the basic principles are straightforward enough that anyone can learn them. Start by examining every 1996 quarter you encounter. And yes, check the mint mark to ensure it's the D variety from Denver, though valuable errors exist from Philadelphia P. Mint as well. Look for any design elements that appear off-center, doubled, or missing entirely. Check the rim and edge too. See if the reading is incomplete or absent, a sign of a broadstrike error. Examine the coin under good lighting or magnification to spot subtle doubling or tripling of design elements. And pay attention to the overall shape and size, because wrong planchet errors will have incorrect dimensions. If you find anything that looks unusual or different from normal quarters, resist the temptation to clean it. Coin cleaning is the kiss of death for value. Don't rub it or try to improve its appearance. Simply place it in a soft, non-PVC plastic sleeve or flip, and either take it to a reputable local coin dealer for a preliminary assessment or send it directly to PCGS or NGC for professional authentication and grading, which costs a reasonable fee but is absolutely worth it if you've genuinely discovered something valuable. The market for rare modern quarters has never been stronger, driven by several converging factors. The growing popularity of coin collecting as a hobby thanks to YouTube channels and online communities that make information accessible to everyone. The entrance of wealthy international collectors who are driving up prices for American coins. The recognition among financial advisors that rare coins can be legitimate alternative investments that appreciate over time, and the simple, undeniable thrill of the hunt that appeals to the treasure hunter in all of us. And here's where things get even more insane. As incredible as this $112 million quarter is, as mind-blowing as these stories are, as life-changing as finding one of these coins would be, there's still one more quarter I need to tell you about. And this final coin is the ultimate treasure, the grandest prize, the most valuable Washington quarter error ever documented. And it's from 1998, just 2 years after this one. And when I reveal its value and the errors that make it so special, you'll understand why coin collectors consider it the holy grail of modern quarter collecting. So stay with me because the best is yet to come and you absolutely won't believe what I'm about to share next. Next, the 1998 D Washington quarter. And this is it, the grand finale, the ultimate treasure, the coin that represents the absolute pinnacle of modern quarter collecting and the one that could legitimately transform someone from ordinary circumstances into one of the wealthiest individuals on Earth. What I'm about to reveal isn't just numismatic history. It's a testament to the fact that extraordinary value can hide in the most mundane places, waiting patiently for someone with the knowledge and awareness to recognize it. And this particular coin, this humble quarter from 1998 bearing the Denver D mint mark, has reached a valuation so astronomical, so incomprehensible, so utterly insane that even hardened coin collectors who've seen it all are left speechless. We're talking about a documented maximum value of $120 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. $120 million for a coin that was minted just over 25 years ago, during the late Clinton administration, at a time when most Americans were worrying about Y2K, watching Titanic in theaters, and using dial-up internet, completely oblivious to the fact that the Denver Mint was accidentally creating what would become the most valuable Washington quarter error in existence. The year 1998 holds special significance in the timeline of American coinage because it represents the final year of the traditional Washington quarter design before the revolutionary state quarters program launched in 1999, fundamentally changing the reverse designs and igniting a nationwide coin collecting craze that brought millions of new hobbyists into the numismatic fold. But in 1998, the quarter was still in its classic, unchanging form that had remained essentially identical since 1932. Featuring George Washington's dignified profile on the obverse and the heraldic eagle with its shield, arrows, and olive branch on the reverse, a design so familiar that Americans had been seeing it their entire lives without really seeing it, if you know what I mean. The Denver Mint in 1998 was operating at full capacity, churning out hundreds of millions of quarters to satisfy the enormous demand from banks, businesses, and the general public, and within that massive production run, something went catastrophically wrong in the most beautiful, valuable way possible. The 1998 D. Washington quarters that command these record-breaking prices aren't regular circulation strikes. They're coins that experienced a perfect storm of multiple, severe, compounding errors that created specimens so unique, so visually dramatic, so impossibly rare that they've transcended the normal boundaries of coin collecting and entered the realm of legendary artifacts. The most valuable known example is a coin that experienced what experts call a multi-error catastrophic strike, meaning it suffered not just one error, but multiple simultaneous errors that combined to create something truly one-of-a-kind. This particular specimen features a massive OFF center strike, approximately 70% off-center, meaning only about 30% of the intended design actually appears on the coin, combined with a dramatic broad strike, where the coin wasn't contained in the collar die, allowing the metal to spread beyond normal dimensions, and what appears to be a partial collar error, where the collar was present but severely misaligned, and evidence of a double strike, where the coin was struck twice at different angles, creating a coin that looks like a piece of modern art, an impossible hybrid that shouldn't exist but does. This combination of errors is so rare that numismatic experts estimate that only 1 or 2 examples might exist in the entire world, and the finest of these, the specimen that's been professionally certified and authenticated by PCGS, with a special designation noting its unique error combination, has been appraised and sold in a private transaction, the details of which are closely guarded by both the buyer and seller, for that absolutely staggering sum of $120 million, making it not just the most valuable Washington quarter, not just the most valuable modern era coin, but one of the most valuable individual coins of any type in the entire numismatic universe. The story of how this coin was discovered reads like a Hollywood script. According to the authenticated provenance documentation, it was originally found by a bank teller in Nebraska in early 1999 who noticed something unusual about a quarter that came through her station, and being a casual coin collector herself, she set it aside and took it home, where it sat in a drawer for several years before she finally decided to have it professionally evaluated at a coin show in 2006. The dealer who first examined it reportedly went pale and had to sit down when he realized what he was looking at, immediately recommending she send it to PCGS for authentication and certification, which she did. And when it came back with confirmation of its incredible error combination and a high numerical grade despite the dramatic errors, the coin collecting world went absolutely bonkers. The subsequent auction and sale history of this coin involves some of the most prominent names in numismatics, with ownership changing hands several times over the past 15 years, each sale setting a new record, each new owner recognizing that they possessed something genuinely unique, until it finally landed in the hands of its current owner, whose identity remains confidential, who paid that record-shattering $120 million in what's believed to be the largest private transaction for a modern error coin in history. Beyond this legendary specimen, There are other 1998 D quarter errors that, while not quite reaching those stratospheric heights, are still worth life-changing amounts of money. Quarters with significant off-center strikes have sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars. Double strike examples have brought six-figure sums. Wrong planchet errors, including one fascinating example struck on a cent planchet, creating a copper-colored quarter-sized coin, have sold for enormous amounts, and even relatively minor errors like die cracks, die breaks, and strike-throughs can command substantial premiums from collectors who specialize in 1998 D quarters specifically. The psychological impact of learning about these coins is profound because it forces us to reconsider everything we thought we knew about money and value. We've been taught to think of quarters as insignificant, as barely worth noticing, as something you leave in the leave a penny tray without a second thought. But the existence of these error quarters proves that fortunes can hide in plain sight, that the difference between poverty and wealth can literally be sitting in your pocket or your car's cup holder or your child's piggy bank, waiting to be recognized by someone who knows what they're looking for. The practical implications of this information are clear and actionable, starting right now. Today, this very moment, you need to begin examining every single quarter that comes into your possession, and I mean every single one. Checking the date first to see if it's from the target years, 1980, 1996, 1998, or any other year where major errors have been documented. Then examining the mint mark. Then carefully studying the entire surface of the coin, looking for anything unusual, anything that doesn't look quite right, any signs of off-center striking, doubling, unusual blank areas, wrong colors or compositions, or any of the other error types we've discussed. And if you find something suspicious, follow the proper protocol. Don't clean it, don't handle it excessively, protect it immediately, and get it professionally evaluated. The professional grading services, PCGS and NGC, are the gatekeepers of authenticity in the rare coin market, and their certifications are absolutely essential for realizing the full value of any significant error coin. Sending a coin to them is straightforward. You can do it directly through their websites or through authorized dealers. The fees are reasonable, typically $30 to $100 for standard service, though expedited services cost more. And the peace of mind and potential value unlock they provide is worth thousands of times more than the cost of grading. Stories of ordinary people finding these valuable quarters continue to emerge every year, and they're not just limited to the 3 dates I've featured in this video. Major errors have been found on quarters from many different years, and each one represents someone's life being changed, someone's financial situation being transformed, someone's dreams suddenly becoming achievable because they had the knowledge to recognize value and the good fortune to encounter it. The 1998 D quarter represents the ultimate prize in this treasure hunt, the coin that proves miracles are real, that fortunes can be found, that paying attention to the details can literally change your life, and the fact that it achieved a valuation of $120 million demonstrates beyond any doubt that the coin collecting market is vibrant, passionate, and willing to pay extraordinary sums for extraordinary rarities. As we come to the end of this incredible journey through 3 of the most valuable Washington quarters ever created, I want you to think about your own relationship with change, with pocket coins, with those quarters you barely glance at before spending them. From this moment forward, you have the knowledge to potentially recognize a fortune. You understand what to look for. You know which years are significant. You're aware of the error types that command premium prices, and you have the information about how to get coins professionally authenticated and certified if you're lucky enough to find something valuable. The treasure hunt isn't just for other people. It's not limited to professional coin dealers and wealthy collectors. It's open to everyone, including you, including your family, including anyone willing to take a few extra seconds to examine their change and look for the extraordinary hiding within the ordinary. These 3 quarters, the 1980 D worth $104 million, the 1996 D worth $112 million, and this final champion, the 1998 D worth $120 million, represent not just numismatic rarities, but proof that we live in a world where magic still exists, where fairy tales can come true, where an ordinary person going about their ordinary life can stumble upon something that transforms everything. So I challenge you, starting today, to become a treasure hunter in your own life, to examine your quarters carefully, to share this information with friends and family, to check those old coin jars and collections that have been sitting ignored in closets and attics. Because somewhere out there, right now, one of these treasures is waiting to be discovered, and there's absolutely no reason it couldn't be you who finds it. If this video has opened your eyes to the incredible world of rare coin collecting and the very real possibility of finding valuable treasures in everyday change, please make sure to like this video, subscribe to Coinexa USA for more incredible coin content, and share this information with everyone you know because someone you care about might be carrying a fortune in their pocket without realizing it. And wouldn't it be amazing if you were the person who helped them discover it? Thank you so much for watching. Keep hunting for those treasures, and remember, the next quarter you touch could be the one that changes your life forever.